There's one soap opera rule that almost never fails. If we don't see the body, the story isn't over. And right now, I think Beyond the Gates is quietly setting up one of its darkest and smartest twists, yet Doug may still be alive. And honestly, the more I think about it, the more disturbing Joey becomes. Because this is no longer just a story about jealousy or betrayal. This is about a man who orchestrated emotional destruction with the precision of a surgeon just to eliminate another surgeon. That's what makes this storyline hit differently. At first glance, the show framed Doug's death as tragic but simple, a drunk driving accident caused by heartbreak and emotional collapse. Vanessa believed it. The police believed it. Even the audience was pushed to accept it. Doug found out Vanessa had been with Joey. He spiraled emotionally, drank too much, got behind the wheel, and died. Case closed. Except it never actually felt closed, did it? Because when you step back and look carefully, every single piece of this tragedy was manufactured by Joey. And that changes everything. Joey didn't just kill Doug physically, he psychologically cornered him first. That's the detail I can't stop thinking about. He deliberately made sure Doug knew Vanessa was with him. He carefully created an alibi. He manipulated the timing, the emotions, and even the public perception surrounding Doug's death. That's not impulsive villain behavior. That's strategic predation. And the scary part? Joey stayed calm afterward. Too calm. This man stood in front of Danelle and Deanna Doug's grieving children without showing even a crack of guilt. Vanessa repeatedly brought up Doug's death in front of him, and Joey never lost composure. In fact, he did something even more sinister. He helped fund a free clinic in Doug's memory. Think about how twisted that is for a second. Joey helped create a memorial for the man he may have murdered. That's not generosity. That's image control. And I think Beyond the Gates wants us to notice that contradiction. Because Joey's biggest addiction may not actually be Vanessa. It's power, control, the ability to manipulate how everyone sees him. Vanessa was never truly a partner in this story. She was a chess piece. Useful, emotionally, socially, and strategically. That's why I don't fully buy the love story angle between Joey and Vanessa. Lust? Obsession? Possession? Sure. But love? I don't see it. Real love doesn't destroy someone's life just to occupy the empty space afterward. And this is where the Doug theory becomes fascinating. The show made a very deliberate choice. We never saw Doug's body. Soap operas do not make that decision accidentally, especially not with a character this important. That missing body is basically a flashing neon sign telling viewers, keep questioning this. There are several possibilities here, and honestly, all of them could work. The first theory is the most dramatic. Doug survived the attack. Maybe he was injured before being trapped in the car, but somehow escaped before the fire fully consumed the vehicle. It sounds outrageous in real life, but in soap opera logic, completely possible. And if that's true, then Joey's entire empire is built on a lie that could collapse overnight. Imagine that scene for a moment. Joey walks into a room believing he controls everyone in it, and then Doug appears alive. I genuinely think that moment would break Joey psychologically, because people like Joey rely on certainty. They believe their manipulation is flawless. The second reality stops obeying their plan, panic begins to crack through the surface. And then there's the second theory, the one I actually find even more interesting. What if Marcel betrayed Joey? This possibility changes the entire moral structure of the storyline. Maybe Marcel made a deal with Doug. Maybe he spared him intentionally. Maybe guilt finally got to him. If that happened, then Joey's downfall wouldn't come from bad luck. It would come from the very corruption he created. That would be poetic. Villains like Joey often believe loyalty can be bought permanently. But fear-based loyalty always expires eventually. Marcel turning against him would prove Joey fundamentally misunderstood the people around him. And honestly, Joey deserves that kind of collapse because the true victims here were never Joey or Vanessa. They were Donnell and Deanna. That's the emotional core of the storyline. And I think some viewers are overlooking it because the scandal is so entertaining. Donnell and Deanna lost their father in the most traumatic way imaginable. Deanna especially seemed shattered by Doug's death. You could feel how deeply it affected her sense of safety and emotional stability. Now imagine what happens if the truth comes out. Not only was Doug potentially murdered, but Vanessa, someone connected to their family indirectly, helped create the emotional circumstances that destroyed him. That revelation would be devastating. And this is where I think the show is actually smarter than people give it credit for. Because Vanessa is not written as a cartoon villain. She's written as someone whose weakness had catastrophic consequences. That distinction matters. I don't think Vanessa intended for Doug to die. But intent does not erase impact. That's the uncomfortable truth the storyline keeps circling around. Vanessa may not have lit the match, but she helped create the emotional fire Joey exploited. And if Doug returns alive, Vanessa's guilt could become unbearable. Can you imagine her realizing that Joey manipulated both of them from the beginning? That while she believed she was entering a passionate relationship, Joey was actually constructing a takeover? That would completely recontextualize her entire storyline. But here's the twist I keep coming back to. What if Doug returning isn't actually a happy ending? Because survival changes people. If Doug has been alive this whole time, hiding in the shadows while watching Joey steal his life, his reputation, and his family, then the man who comes back may not be the same Doug everyone remembers. Revenge changes people too. That's why I think the most compelling version of this story isn't just Doug exposes Joey. It's watching whether Doug himself becomes consumed by rage in the process. Can he return without becoming as destructive as the man who tried to erase him? That's the real question. And honestly, that's why this storyline works so well for me. Underneath the soap opera chaos, explosions, affairs, fake deaths, and revenge plots, there's actually a sharp psychological idea at the center of it all. People who try to control every narrative eventually become trapped by the lies they created. Joey thought he buried Doug, but maybe what he really buried was the last version of himself capable of escaping consequences.